Golden Radio Hour.
Lipton Tea and Lipton Soup present Inner Sanctum Mysteries. Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum. This is your host. Welcome again through the squeaking door. Did you miss us? You know, we haven't been around to haunt you these last 8 weeks. Yes, that's right. Death takes a vacation. Where have we been? Oh, we spent our vacation in a nice, cool place. Underground. Of course, we missed your smiling faces, but where we went, everybody grinned. Yes, they couldn't help it. They were grinning skulls. Too bad you couldn't all come along.
Good evening, Mr. Host.
Well, hello, Mary Bennett. Say, Mary, on my vacation, I met someone who had something very nice to say about Lipton tea. Yes, it was a ghost. And he said the flavor of Lipton's was out of this world.
I suppose you think that's a real testimonial.
But of course, no other product has ever been endorsed by a ghost.
Well, I can tell you that Lipton's isn't looking for such compliments. What pleases them is the fact that more real people drink Lipton tea than any other brand. And what's more, they drink it all year round. Right now, lots of folks are enjoying Lipton's as an iced beverage because it certainly makes a cold meal taste better. Yes, and Lipton's iced tea is grand between meals, too. It's a welcoming, refreshing drink to serve when your guests drop in at your house. You see, Lipton tea has that famous brisk flavor. Now, that word brisk, B-R-I-S-K, means that Lipton's always tastes fresh and full-bodied, never flat or wishy-washy. So get acquainted with Lipton's real soon, won't you, folks?
Yes, and if you'd like to get acquainted with murder real soon, then listen to Dead Man's Deal. It's an original radio play by that chill master, Emil Tepperman. And our star tonight is Larry Haynes, who plays the role of Joe Lester. It all happened to Joe Lester, who was really a small-time gambler and who had no business in that big-time game with Barney Flood and Dan Kilmer and Nick Zapparetti and the others. But it's really Lester's story. So here he is to tell it to you.
I guess it was the biggest poker game I ever took a hand in. It was in Barney Flood's room, number 327, the Brandon Hotel. They were all big shots. I had to play a careful game. I only had about $3,000, and if I didn't nurse it, a single deal could wipe me out.
What's the matter, Lester? Playing kind of tight, aren't you?
Whatever, Barney. Man's entitled to play his own game, isn't he?
Sure. Maybe you don't belong in this one. You need guts for this game. You tell him, Dan.
Maybe Lester doesn't know what guts are, Barney.
Now listen, you.
Don't try to get tough, Lester. It wouldn't be healthy.
Lester saw at me, Dan. Saw because I took his girl away from him. How didn't you, Lester?
Suppose we leave Louise out of this, Barney. If she prefers you, that's okay with me.
That's mighty big of you, Lester.
That's why I hated Barney Flood. He'd taken Louise away from me. And Louise was the only thing in the world I loved. And what was worse, Barney Flood and his man, Dan Kilmer, were laughing at me because they knew I didn't have the guts to do anything about it. And then it came. The hand I'd been waiting for. Dan Kilmer was dealing. Barney Flood opened blind.
I opened for 1,000.
I dropped.
That's me.
The others all dropped out. But when I picked up my 5 cards, I found I had 3 aces. This was the way I'd wanted it. Just Barney Flood and me. And me with a strong hand before the buy. Now I'd show him who had guts. I counted out $2,000 in $100 bills and shoved them out on the table. I see you, Barney. And raise you 1,000.
Ah. So our little Lester's waking up. Okay, I see the raise. Just the two of us,
How many cards, Barney?
1.
Right. And how many do you want, Big Shot?
I'll take 2.
Here you are.
My hands were a little clammy as I picked them up. I looked at the cards. And suddenly I felt as if I'd inherited the whole universe. I had bought an extra ace. I held 4 aces.
Well, Big Shot, I bought something here. I think it's the winning hand. I'm going to bet the works. Here. All the cash I have with me. 90 grand.
90 grand.
I felt the sweat on my hands as I watched him push the money out on the table. 90 grand he was betting. And I had him beat with my 4 aces. But I couldn't see his bet. All I had was about $1,000.
Come on, Big Shot. What are you waiting for?
You know I haven't got that much money.
You shouldn't be playing in this game, Tin Horn.
You're taking advantage of me, Barney. You're trying to show me up. You know I have to drop out even with a better hand.
Oh, so you think you have a better hand, eh?
Make the bet inside my limit, and you'll see.
All right, Lester. We'll see what kind of a gambler you really are. Here. I'll withdraw this 90 grand bet. I'll make another kind of bet. A bet you can see. If you have the guts.
Well, what kind of bet?
I'll bet my life against your life. The man who loses this deal agrees to commit suicide.
For a full minute after Barney Flood made his proposition, the room was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. Barney Flood and I sat facing each other across the table, our closed cards in our hands. These were the biggest stakes men had ever played for. A life against a life. The other players were stunned and frightened by it. They wanted no part of it. One by one, they made lame excuses and faded from the room.
Hi, Dan.
Only Dan Kilmer was left with Barney and me.
Look, Barney, why should you risk your life against this punk's life?
This is the way it's going to be, Dan. Lester hates me. Don't you, Lester?
Yes, Barney. I hate you.
You see, Dan, he hates me because deep down inside of him, he knows he isn't as good as I am. All right. This is the showdown. One of us walks out of this room alive. The loser stays here with a bullet in his brain. Is that okay with you, Lester?
Yeah. Yeah, sure, it's okay with me, but I don't want Dan in the room. This is just between you and me. Let him go out before we uncover our cards.
All right.
But listen, boss.
You heard him, Dan. Just the 2 of us.
Okay.
Leave your gun here on the table, Dan.
I don't like...
Do as I say.
Okay.
Thanks. Now go down to the lobby and wait.
So long. I'll be waiting in the lobby.
Okay, Lester. There's no backing out now. We'll open our hands. The loser picks up that gun and blows his brains out.
This was the minute I'd been waiting for. My lips were dry. I wet them with my tongue. Now, at last, I had Barney Flood exactly where I wanted him. Okay, Barney. Read 'em and weep. How do you like these? 1 ace, 2 aces, 3 aces, 4 aces. How do you like 'em, Barney?
4 aces, huh?
I kept my eyes on Barney. I wanted to milk the last drop of satisfaction out of that moment. But he was a born gambler. His face didn't show a thing. He sighed, and slowly he began to turn over his own cards. 3 of hearts, 4 of hearts, 5 of hearts, 6 of hearts, 7 of hearts. A straight flush.
Well, Lester. Straight flush beats 4 of a kind.
You only bought 1 card.
That's right. I went in with 3, 4, 5, and 6 of hearts. I bought the 7 of hearts.
A straight flush, eh? I can't believe it. I've lost.
Yes, Lester. You've lost. You've lost your life. And a gambler always pays up. Here's the gun, Lester. Go ahead. A gambler always pays up.
I curled my finger around the trigger. I stood up and leaned across the table. I pointed the gun at Barney Flood, and I shot him in the head. Now I had to work fast and carefully. I had it all figured out. When I shot Barney, I leaned over the table so the barrel of the gun was close to his head. There were powder burns on his temple around the wound. I wiped my fingerprints off the gun and pressed Barney's hand around the barrel. Next, I turned my attention to the card table. This was important. I left my 4 aces intact where I laid them out. But I changed Barney's hand slightly. I removed the 7 of hearts, replaced it in a deck, and riffled through it. I found the 7 of diamonds. I substituted this for the 7 of hearts. Now Barney's hand was no longer a straight flush. It was an ordinary straight. And my 4 aces were better. So now it looked as if I had won the game. I was ready. I picked up the phone and asked the operator to connect me with the police. Hello? Police headquarters? This is Joe Lester. I'm in room 327 of the Brandon Hotel. Barney Flood has just committed suicide.
Well, it looks as if Lester has carefully set the stage for foul play. He has to be careful if he wants people to believe that Barney has committed suicide. Because that's the last thing in the world a man would do. How about it, Mary? What side are you betting on? I'll give you odds that Lester isn't caught.
Why, you know very well that I don't bet.
Oh, come on, Mary. I'll tell you what. I'll bet you my Sunday shroud against a package of Lipton tea.
Oh, my gracious, I never know what you're going to say next. But I still don't believe in gambling. And, folks, if you feel the same way about it, then I know you'll like Lipton tea, because you can always be sure of its flavor. Tea experts describe that flavor by saying it's brisk. B-R-I-S-K. And brisk flavor means that Lipton's always tastes fresh and vigorous, never flat or insipid. Lipton's is a real experience in tea drinking. That's why I always say that you don't know how good tea can be till you know how good Lipton's is.
And now, let's go back to Joe Lester. Let's see if his airtight scheme to make Barney Flood's murder look like suicide goes over with the police. Yes, and let's hope it's not so airtight that it leaves him dangling in air at the end of a hangman's noose.
At headquarters, all the players told the same story. How Barney Flood had proposed a suicide bet, and how they'd all cleared out. Inspector Larkin dismissed them all, leaving only Dan Kilmer and myself in the office with him and the stenographer.
Now, you, Kilmer.
Yes, Inspector.
You're Barney Flood's right-hand man?
Well, you know I have a private detective's license. Barney paid me to be his bodyguard.
You worked for Barney a long time?
That's right.
Lester says you left your gun on the table. Is that right?
That's right. Then I went out.
Okay, Lester. It's your story from here. What happened after Kilmer went out?
Well, Barney and I uncovered our hands. He had a small straight, but I had 4 aces. You saw the cards lying there on the table.
Yeah, I saw them. What happened then?
Well, Barney said, well, I guess I lose. He picked up the gun. I tried to stop him, but he said a gambler always pays up. Then he put the gun to his head to pull the trigger before I could stop him.
What do you think of that story, Kilmer?
I think he lies.
Makes you think so?
I can't say.
Ah, that's no evidence. Looks like suicide. I'm afraid there's no charge told, John Lester. I wish there was.
Hey, you mean I'm free to go?
Yeah, sure. Go on. Get out.
Dan Kilmer gave me a dirty look, but I only grinned at him. I got up and went to the door. Everything was going my way. I was rid of Barney Flood. I'd committed the perfect murder. And now I was free to go to Louise.
You know, it's awful funny
What's awful funny, Louise?
how Barney killed himself. Here's your drink.
Oh, thanks. There's nothing funny about it. He lost and he paid off.
Yeah, I know, but somehow I can't imagine Barney losing a hand like that.
Now, listen, Louise, you stop thinking about Barney. He's dead, see, and I'm alive, and I'm not letting any other man have you. Is that plain?
Yes, darling, it's plain.
Come here, baby. That's better. You know, I'm crazy about you.
You seem to have changed. You seem so strong.
Yeah, you bet. From now on, nothing stops me. You know what? We're getting married tomorrow. We won't wait.
I better answer the phone.
I'll let it ring.
No, you better let me answer it.
Well, okay, go ahead, but make it snappy, will you?
I will, darling. Hello? Yes, this is Plaza 87790.
I watched her at the phone. And she was more beautiful than anything I'd ever known. That was the happiest I'll ever be. That one short moment while I watched her at the phone. And then it was over.
Yes? Yes, he's here, but who is this? What are you talking about? No. No, it can't be. Please. Please,
Her voice trailed off into a sob, and she hung up. She looked as if all her life had been drained out of her body by that phone call. Louise, who was that? Who was that on the phone? What did he say?
He said to remind you about the Seven of Hearts. He said you know what he meant.
7 of Hearts. The card I'd substituted in Barney Flood's hand. Oh, but no one could know about the 7 of Hearts. Barney was the only one. And he was dead. Who gave you that message, Louise? Who was that on the phone?
He didn't give his name, but I recognized the voice.
Louise, for heaven's sakes, tell me who it was.
I can't believe it, but I'd swear it was Barney Flood.
And then the phone rang again.
It's the phone again. He's calling back.
I'll answer it. Pushed Louise roughly aside. Slowly, I walked toward the ringing phone, almost in a daze, and picked it up. I think I must have been expecting it, because I wasn't surprised when I heard that voice. I only felt numb.
Hello, Lester. I'm waiting for you. Outside the house. Across the street. Won't you come out and talk to me? About the 7 of Hearts.
7 of Hearts. He wanted to talk to me about the 7 of Hearts. And he was waiting outside. But who? I dropped the phone and went to the window, pulled back the blind and peered out. At first I saw nothing. And then I spotted him. A shadowy figure standing in a doorway across the street with his hat brim pulled low over his face. And just then a car swept down the street. Its headlights illuminated the doorway, and I got a quick look at the face. There was blood dripping from under the hat brim. I'll never remember how I managed to get out of Louise's apartment. Not the front way. I didn't dare go out into the street with that shadowy figure waiting out there. I stumbled blindly down the back stairs, flight after flight, almost tripping, skinning my hands on the banisters, bruising my elbows, but I didn't care. I wanted to get away from there.
Taxi, mister?
Huh? What?
Taxi, mister.
A taxi. Yeah, sure. Get going, quick.
Sure, but where to?
Where to? I didn't care. Anywhere, as long as it was away from here. Home, that was the place. I'd go home and shut myself up and not answer the phone. 17 Glidden Road, quick.
Right.
I heaved a sigh of relief as we pulled away. Out of pure instinct, I suppose, I looked out the rear window. Suddenly, the blood began to pound in my head like a thunderous avalanche. Because back there at the corner was that same shadowy figure. Getting into another cab. Pointing after my taxi. Faster, driver. You gotta go faster.
Hey, what's wrong, mister?
Look, that cab behind us. $20 if you lose it.
What cab?
That one, you fool. The cab behind us.
Hey, one of us must be nuts. Or maybe you had a couple too many. There isn't any cab behind it.
I turned around and looked again. My driver was right. The street was empty as far back as I could see.
There you are, mister. 17 Glidden Road.
I got out of the cab. I saw that the driver was looking at me as if he thought I was drunk or crazy. My shirt was wet with perspiration. My head began to throb, and everything swam before my eyes. Then a voice began to whisper in my ear like a terrible refrain.
7 of hearts. The 7 of hearts. 7 of
I leaned
hearts.
weakly against the taxi
7
cab.
of hearts.
Through a mist, I
7 of
looked down the
hearts.
street.
7
There it
of
was.
hearts. 7 of hearts.
Same shadowy figure with a hat
7
being
of
pulled low
hearts.
over the bloody face.
7 of hearts.
Walking
7 of
toward
hearts.
me.
7 of
Slowly.
hearts. 7
Toward
of
me.
hearts. 7
now
of
faster.
hearts.
Coming toward
7
me
of
fast.
hearts.
And the refrain
7
ringing in
of
my
hearts.
ears. I couldn't
7
stand
of
it.
hearts.
I flung myself into the
7 of
cab.
hearts.
I wanted safety.
7 of hearts.
Drive the police
7
headquarters
of
back.
hearts.
Police headquarters, I burst into Inspector Larkin's office. He was in there talking to Dan Kilmer.
What's the idea of barging in here, Lester?
I got to talk to you, Inspector.
What's wrong, big shot? You look all broken
You
up.
keep at it, Dan. I've come to see the inspector.
What do you want?
I want protection. You got to protect me
Protect you against whom?
against Barney Flood. He's come back.
Is a gag?
No, it's no gag.
That guy's gone nuts.
No, I tell you, Barney Flood's come back. At first, I thought it was a phony, but now I'm sure it's Barney Flood.
How do you know it's Barney Flood?
Because I stopped short. I'd almost said too much. I couldn't tell him about the 7 of hearts. I couldn't tell him why I was sure it couldn't be anybody else but Barney Flood.
Get out of here, Lester. I've got no time to waste.
But you've got to assign an officer to protect me. I'm afraid to go home.
Look, Lester, I think you're going nuts the way Dan says. If I signed an officer to you, everybody'd say I was going nuts, too. Signing a cop to protect a man against a ghost.
But I insist.
Get out!
Look, Dan, will you help me?
What? Oh, me?
What, you're not working now, are you?
No, I lost my job when Barney died.
Well, look, how about a job? Working for me, protecting me, huh?
Against a ghost? Against Barney Flood's ghost?
Oh, what do you care as long as I pay you?
Okay, Lester. You've hired me.
Good. Come on, then. Come home with me. I want you to sit up with me all night, huh? Dan Kilmer came home with me. And we sat up, whiling the time away, playing two-handed poker.
My deal, Lester.
Yeah, sure.
So you're really scared, huh, Lester?
Don't laugh at me, Dan. You'll be scared, too, if you'd seen what I saw.
You mean, like the guy with the blood on his face?
How'd you know about that?
And the telephone call about the 7 of hearts?
The 7 of...
I figured that stuff would sort of get you on edge.
What do you mean?
I mean that I'm the one that planted that man outside Louise's apartment. That was me on the telephone.
You?
Sure. That cab driver was my man, too. I had him planted out in back of Louise's house. He was waiting for you to come out the back way. You see, Lester, I had you figured right. Every move.
You did all that? What was the idea?
I wanted to get you right here. Like this. Afraid of your own shadow.
What? What for?
Pick 'em up.
I picked up the cards. I stared at them. It was 4 aces. The same hand I'd held with Barney Flood.
How would you like to make a little bet on your hand, Lester? Against mine. Say, your life against my life.
What do you mean?
Don't you get it yet? Here, I'll turn my cards over for you. See? 3 of hearts, 4 of hearts, 5 of hearts, 6 of hearts, and the 7 of hearts. You see, Lester, my hand does have the 7 of hearts in it. So did Barney Flood's. Before you took it out.
How do you know about the 7 of hearts? For a long time, Dan Kilmer didn't say anything. He just sat there, looking at me. Then he got up, took out his gun, laid it on the table. And he went to the door.
How did I know about the 7 of hearts? You see, Lester, I dealt the other hand, too.
Barney Flood was right. A gambler must always pay up. The gun is ready on the table. And now, I'm ready too.
Oh, poor Lester. He's in a very grave situation now. Yeah, so grave he needs the help of an undertaker. But he was only a beginner in crime. He might have done better if he hadn't come to such an untimely end.
Well, I've got no sympathy to waste on him. He shouldn't have gotten into that poker game in the first place.
Oh, I don't know. I never forget the time I played strip poker with a bunch of ghosts. Say, was I lucky that day? Yes, you should have seen those ghosts shedding their ectoplasm.
I declare, I don't know why you're always talking about ghosts.
Oh, they're such lucky guys. They always keep cool. Even in the summer, the least little breeze goes right through them.
Well, I'd rather be a human being. Real honest folks have a good way of keeping cool, too. They just make themselves a refreshing pitcher of Lipton's iced tea. Yes, there's nothing like Lipton's to perk you up on a hot day. I guess it's that famous brisk flavor that makes all the difference. It's so rich and lively. Whether you drink it iced or hot, there's nothing that can beat Lipton's, the tea with the brisk flavor.
And now a word of advice. You can't afford to gamble with death because the loser never gets a chance to stage a comeback. And what's more, friends, if all the corpses on this program were laid end to end, they'd be a lot more comfortable. Oh, by the way, this month's Inner Sanctum mystery novel is Puzzle for Wantons by Patrick Quentin. Yes, and next week's Inner Sanctum story, directed by Hyman Brown and brought to you by Lipton Tea and Lipton Soup. Next week's story is going to blow the tubes in your radio. It's about a beautiful woman who marries a dead man. Now, there's an unusual romance. And this graveyard Romeo has second sight and always knows who's going to be murdered next. Well, of course he's got second sight. He lost his first sight when he died, see? Now it's time to close the squeaking door until next Tuesday. So, good night. Pleasant dreams.
Folks, even with a cold meal, most of us have a craving for one hot dish. Well, why not make that one hot dish Lipton's noodle soup? You see, Lipton's has a real old-fashioned taste, a chickeny taste, just like real homemade chicken soup. And yet it's so easy to prepare. That's because Lipton's comes in an envelope. You just empty the contents of the envelope into boiling water, and in no time at all, soup's on. Just as quick and simple as that. And yet Lipton's noodle soup is blessed with a real chickeny flavor, and it's brim full of tender golden egg noodles. So, folks, don't forget Lipton's noodle soup. And don't forget to tune in next Tuesday night for another Inner Sanctum mystery.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Lipton Tea and Lipton Soup present Inner Sanctum Mysteries. Good evening, friends. friends of the Inner Sanctum. This is your host, welcoming you in through the squeaking door. Come in, see my latest collection of corpses. I've dug up some very interesting pieces, but of course I had to pay a stiff price. This petrified man, for instance, he's over 100 years old. They found him in a forest. That's right, aged in the woods.
My goodness, do you expect folks to believe nonsense like that?
Oh, but it's true, Mary. Look over here at this artist model. The last time she posed for a sketch, she was drawn and quartered. The artist wanted to paint her with her head in her hands, but he didn't have the nerve to axe her. So he sawed her in half.
What an imagination you have.
You don't believe me. All right. I'm not going to show you my corpse collection anymore. This is the last time.
Well, I don't believe that either. But talking of last times, folks, this is the last time on Inner Sanctum that the Lipton people are offering to send the ladies that special sterling silver medallion. Yes, ladies, this is your last chance to own a really lovely piece of jewelry without spending a lot of money for it. Now, let me describe the medallion to you. It's made of solid sterling silver. It's about 1 inch in diameter. Yes, and it's decorated with the Chinese symbol for good luck. You can wear the medallion as a necklace or a choker. You see, it's hung on a narrow black rayon satin ribbon. Or if you wish, you can simply add it to your charm bracelet. And here's how you get this handsome medallion. Listen, just send 25 cents and the box top from a package of Lipton's, the tea with the brisk flavor, to Lipton Tea, Box 92. That's Box 92, New York City.
All right, friends. Better write that address down on a dry piece of paper. Why do I say dry? Because everything will be wet by the time we're through here. Wet with gore. Tonight's story is called Dead Man's Debt. It's an original radio play by Robert Newman. And our star tonight is Joseph Julian, who plays the role of Danny. The corner cell in the courthouse jail. Stone walls, stone floor, and a hard cot. Lying on the cot, huddled under the blanket, is Danny Gorman. His eyes are closed and his breathing is regular. But even he is not sure whether he's asleep or awake. For he's listening to a voice he's heard quite often during the past few weeks. And a voice he shouldn't be able to hear. A voice of a dead man.
Are you sleeping, Danny? Don't. It's a waste of time. A real waste. You'll be sleeping for a long, long time, very soon. When you're dead like I am.
No.
Yes, Danny. Did you think you were going to get away with it? You won't. You'll pay. And soon.
No, I said no. Shut up, will you?
What's the trouble in here? What are you making all that racket for?
What?
Better pull yourself together and get moving. Waiting for you downstairs, court's in session.
All right, don't rush me. I'm coming.
I'm not rushing you. Sure glad to be rid of you. Glad you won't be coming back here again.
What? What do you mean?
They'll wind up your case this morning. Hand down a verdict before lunch. 2 to 1, they do it without leaving the jury box. And 10 to 1, it's guilty.
Gentlemen of the jury, have you reached a verdict?
We have?
Prisoner will rise and face the jury.
Go on, Danny. Stand up.
What is your verdict?
Not guilty.
Right. You mean? What a riot. I should have taken him up on it. 10 to 1 he wanted to give me that you were going to send me up. But I knew it. I knew you would.
Order, Mr. Russell. You quiet your client?
I apologize, Your Honor, but as you can imagine, he's been under considerable strain. Take it easy, Danny.
Danny. Oh, Danny.
Oh, Gail, hiya, baby.
I knew it too, Danny. I knew they'd let you go. They had to.
I hope you don't mind coming here to celebrate. It's not very fancy, but, well, this is where they picked me up, put the cuffs on me. I'm kind of sentimental about it.
That's perfectly all right.
Here's to you, Russell. You did a swell job getting me off.
Well, thank you. I had probably done better if I didn't have a conscience.
How come?
I was assigned to your case. I had to defend you. And I did the best job I could. But it was a little hard to put my heart in it when I knew you were guilty. Not of the murder you were charged with, but another one.
What?
If that's supposed to be funny, Mr. Russell.
It's not, Gail. Danny was charged with the murder of Carson, a well-known jeweler, whose body was found a few miles from his country house. Danny was seen in the vicinity in the company of Stack Allen, a man with a long criminal record. Now, if you remember, there were just 3 things that saved Danny. 1, the fact that Carson was thought to have a valuable diamond on him. Danny didn't have the diamond, and it hasn't been found yet. 2, Carson was shot with a .45. Danny's gun was a .38. And 3, Stack Allen has disappeared. Now, on the basis of these 3 facts, I was able to convince the jury that it was Stack who killed Carson and took the diamond. And, as a matter of fact, that's what I think did happen.
Well?
The DA made one mistake. He charged you with a wrong murder. I don't believe you killed Carson, but I do think you killed Stack Allen.
That's ridiculous. Danny, tell him it's not true. Tell him.
Shut up. What are you going to do about it?
Nothing. I'm not a policeman. I'm an attorney.
You're lying.
No. You see, basically, I have great respect for the law. I believe that even though it sometimes makes mistakes, it generally corrects them. I think it'll catch up with you. In the meantime, well, there's the matter of my services. Since I saved your life, I figure you owe me a good deal.
Don't worry about that. I'll pay you.
Yes? How?
Never mind that. I said I'd pay you.
You don't have the money now. I know that. If you wanted me to, I could probably help you.
I don't want any help from you or anyone else. I said I'd pay you, and I will. Come on, Gail. Let's get out of here.
Are you sleeping again, Danny? That's a mistake. A waste of time. You'll be sleeping for a long, long time when you're dead like I am.
Stack, no, leave me alone.
I can't, Danny. Not until you pay for what you did to me. And you will pay for that. And soon.
Huh? Who's that? Who's there?
It's me, Danny. Gail.
Oh. Okay, just a second.
Hello, Danny.
Hi.
Starting to get a little worried about you. You all right?
Sure, I'm all right. What is there to worry about?
Well, it's been a week since I saw you. I've been hearing things. That you were hanging around with the old gang again. With Frankie.
So what?
You mean it's true? Danny, you shouldn't. You know what almost happened what would have happened if it hadn't been for Mr. Russell.
Russell.
You wouldn't be here now if it wasn't for him. Danny, you said you were going straight, and instead, he wanted to help you, remember?
How are you, Danny?
Russell, what are you doing here? Look, if you're worried about your dough, I told you I'd pay you.
I never said anything about money, Danny. And I'm not worried about being paid. I'm a firm believer in balancing accounts. We pay for everything we do.
What are you driving at?
You killed Stack Allen for the diamond you took from Carson. But you never got the diamond. Suppose I help you find it.
What? How do you know where it is?
I don't know. I'm only guessing. But if you show me where you buried Stack's body, I think maybe we can find it together.
You're just trying to trap me. Tag me with Stack's murder.
I told you I was an attorney, not a policeman.
Okay. Okay, I'll take a chance on it. Get your car, I'll show you. Go easy now. Turn off there to the left.
Into the woods?
Yeah. Just a little further. All right, go slow. Okay, now stop.
I think you'd better stay here, Gail. It's not going to be very pleasant.
No, it's all right. I'll come.
Just as you like. Now, tell me again just how it happened, Danny.
Well, we drove down here after we knocked Carson off to decide just what we're going to do. I had a feeling Stack was going to plug me so he wouldn't have to split with me, and I decided to beat him to it. He went over there. He sat down on that log. and he was playing with his ear the way he used to, pulling on it. I let him have it. I searched him, but I couldn't find the diamond.
What did you do with the body?
I dug a deep hole right there. I dumped him in it, and I piled wood on it, and then built a fire. And after it burned down, I covered it up.
Okay. Let's get the shovels out of the car and start digging.
Hey, my shovel hit something. I think it's him.
Gail, will you go back to the car?
No, I'm going to stay. I just won't look.
There he is. At least his bones.
Put your shovel under his skull and lift it carefully.
Hey, the diamond. The diamond's lying right underneath him. How did you know?
I didn't. I told you I was guessing. You saw him take it from Carson, knew he had it with him, but you couldn't find it when you searched him. You mentioned that when he was thinking, he had a way of playing with his ear.
His ear, of course. That was it. He hid it in his ear. Maybe he figured I was going to stick him up with something. Maybe. Anyway, I got it now. We're rich, you hear, Gail? We're rich.
Yes, I hear.
What are you looking at me for that way?
Danny, I loved you for a long time. Even when I knew there were things wrong with you. I stuck with you through the trial because I thought you were innocent. That you hadn't killed Carson. Now I hate you.
I stood trial. I got off, didn't I? I paid for the diamond. And now it's mine.
Yes, Danny, it's yours. But you haven't paid for it. You're only going to start paying for it.
There's our friend, Mr. Bones, again. You know, I don't mind his talking from the grave, but I wish he'd stop heckling Danny and not sound so much like a bill collector. After all, he didn't do so badly. He not only got buried, he got cremated, too.
Yes, he paid the penalty for his crime.
Yeah. But what right has he got to be so moral after he's dead? And so vain, too. Wearing a diamond in his ear. Next thing you know, we'll see a skeleton walking around wearing a Lipton sterling silver medallion.
That will never happen, I assure you.
Is that so? Well, let me tell you about a skeleton who could fly.
Now, stop. That's enough. You let me tell you about a real flyer, an American pilot, whose life was saved by the original of that sterling silver medallion that the Lipton people are offering to the ladies. Now, listen, folks, because this is a true story. It seems that a year or so ago, an American flyer had to bail out over enemy territory. Fortunately, he was rescued by Chinese guerrillas, and they gave him a medallion with Chinese letters on it. They said that this medallion would bring him safely through the lines. Well, he did get through, and only then did he learn that the letters meant good luck in Chinese. Now, there's a story to tell your friends when they're admiring your sterling silver medallion on its narrow black rayon satin ribbon. And to get this Chinese good luck charm, just like the one the flyer carried, all you have to do is send 25 cents and the box top from a package of Lipton's, the tea with the brisk flavor, to Lipton Tea, Box 92. That's Box 92, New York City.
And now, friends, back to the story of Danny Gorman, who was tried for the wrong murder and who's found, so far at least, that crime does pay, and very nicely, too. It's about an hour later now, and a car with 3 very silent people in it has just reached the outskirts of the town.
What's the matter with you two, anyway? What are you sitting there like a pair of mummies for? Why don't you say something?
I said everything I had to there in the woods, Danny.
I've got nothing to say.
No, nothing at all. Don't try and pull a lily act now, Russell. Don't forget, you're in this as deep as... Hey, wait a minute. Stop right here. Yeah, that's right, in front of that hock shop.
Where are you going?
Inside to see a friend. Might just as well get the dough to pay you off right now. And I won't have to listen to any more of your double talk. Hello, Finney.
Well, Danny. Haven't seen you in a long time. And I didn't think I'd ever be seeing you again.
How come?
Yeah, I thought that anybody who'd just beaten a murder rap would have sense enough to keep in the clear. Not get mixed up with anything hot.
Or is this a social visit?
Not exactly. Take a look at this.
It's a very nice diamond. Very nice, indeed.
What's it worth?
Well, you really want to know what it's worth? You want to know what I'll give you for it?
What's the difference?
A great deal. It's worth, let me take another look at it. Yes, it's worth $10,000, maybe $12,000. I'll give you $2,000 for it.
What? Why, you old... What's the idea?
It's very simple, Danny. You were tried for Carson's murder, and you got off because you had a good lawyer and because there wasn't enough evidence. But if you were tried again, right now, you wouldn't do so well. Because this is the very best kind of evidence right here. You see, I happen to know that this is Carson's diamond.
Yeah?
Yes, Danny. That means that you wouldn't dare take it to anybody else. It wouldn't be wise for you even to take it out of this shop. And that's why it's very generous of me to offer you $1,500 for it.
$1,500? But you just said... Okay, Finney. Take the diamond, give me the dough.
That's very sensible of you, Danny. Come back tomorrow about the same time.
Nothing doing. I'm taking a powder out of town. I want the dough right now.
All right, Danny. Wait out there, and I'll get it for you. $7, 21, 4, and there we are. Let's see. Oh.
Sorry it had to be a knife, Finney.
Danny, you... Damn.
Couldn't take a chance with a gun, not with my friends outside. Shouldn't have driven such a hard bargain. Because now I'm not only going to take the diamond back, I'm going to take every cent you got in the safe. After all, it won't do you any good anymore.
All right.
Yeah, let's get going.
You seem quite pleased with yourself.
Why shouldn't I be? Get rid of the diamond, and I finally got my hands on some real dough. I can pay you off now. What do I owe you?
I told you, Danny. A great deal. Your life.
Okay, don't build it up. What do you want in cash?
I never said anything about money, Danny. There is something I want. When the right time comes, I think I'll get it.
Yeah? Who is it?
Me, Danny. Frankie.
Oh, just a second. Hiya, Frankie.
Fine. A little worried about how you were.
Me? How come?
That little job last night. Said you wanted to get in on it, then you never showed up. Thought maybe you were sick or something.
Oh, that, No. It was just that, well, I changed my mind.
Yeah?
Yeah, I kind of thought it over. I decided, I better stay in the clear. Go straight from now on.
That's smart, Danny. Real smart.
Yeah, I think so. How'd it go?
Smooth as silk. We ended up with stuff worth, 3 or 4 G's anyway.
Yeah, swell.
Yeah. It's only after it was all over that we ran into something kind of funny.
What was that?
Well, the stuff was kind of hot, and we thought we ought to unload right away, so we went down to Finney's. You know, the fence.
Yeah.
We got there, it didn't seem like there was anyone around. I took a gander in the back room, and you won't believe this, but the safe was open. Cleaned out. There was Finney, dead.
What? Well, you have any idea who did it?
I don't know. He'd been knifed. Whoever got him left in such a hurry they forgot to take the knife with them. I got it right here.
Well, let's see it.
No, don't touch it, Danny. You might get your fingerprints on it, and that'd be bad. I said don't touch it. I'll try any monkey tricks or I'll blast you for keeps. So you were going straight, eh? You mealy-mouthed double-crosser. Where's the diamond?
What are you talking about?
Don't give me that.
You think I know your knife when I say it? There's only one reason you'd go to see Fenty. To cash in on that diamond you and Stack took from Carson. Well, I want it.
Okay. Okay, Frankie, you can have it. I've been having nothing but tough luck ever since I first laid eyes on it. It's over there in my bureau, hidden under my socks. I'll get it for you.
You're starting to show some sense.
Yeah, I think so. More sense than to let you leave here knowing what you know. Now, get my friend the lawyer down here. Everything will be hunky-dory. Well, you sure got down here fast, Russell. Hey, what's the idea?
Bringing Gail with me? I thought she might be interested in anything you might have to say to me. You said something about another case?
Yeah. Look over there, in the corner.
Oh.
Frankie. Frankie Ring. And he's dead.
You killed him?
Yeah. It was self-defense. So he came down here to get me to go out on a job with him. I told him I wouldn't, that I was going straight, and he pulled a gun. There it is in his hand. See? I got my own rod from the bureau, and, well, that was that. Sound okay?
Fine.
You know, it ain't going to be easy, I know. Me coming up for a second murder rap. But you can get me off. I got plenty of dough this time. I can really pay. The thing is, what do we do first?
We don't do anything, Danny. There are a lot of things you can do. But my suggestion is that you call the police. Give yourself up.
What? You mean you're not going to take this case?
No, Danny.
Why not? You fronted for me the last time.
Yes, Danny, and I told you why. I was assigned the case, couldn't turn it down. Besides, you were being tried for the wrong murder. But this time it won't be the wrong murder. It'll be the right one. This is the one I said was finally going to catch up with you.
I see. Is your car downstairs by any chance?
Yes. Why?
I'm starting to feel a little restless. Let's go places. Go ahead, march.
Danny, what are you going to do?
Are you kidding? You know about Stack and about Freddie. Somehow I don't think I'd sleep so good knowing that you knew. Besides that, there's one more you don't know about, Finney. I got him yesterday while you were waiting in the car. After your first three, they start to come easy, even dames. We're going to take a little ride together. But I got a feeling we're not all of us coming back. Keep driving till I tell you to stop.
Right.
You're taking this awful quiet, the two of you. Maybe you don't think I'm going to go through with it.
Oh, I think you intend to, all right. Whether you will or not is another story. So is the reason I'm taking it this way. Maybe this is as good a time as any to tell you a few things. Why I took your case in the first place.
Well?
It was because of Carson. He was my father's best friend. Kind of a second father. It was he who put me through law school. When he was murdered, I made up my mind to get to the bottom of it, find out who killed him. I didn't think it was you, and it wasn't. You were involved. And I knew that if I helped you get what the murder was committed for, the diamond, eventually you'd pay for the murder you committed. Well, now you've got not one, but 3 murders to pay for.
What are you stopping for?
Railroad crossing. There's a train coming. Can't you hear the bell?
Told you to keep going till I said for you to stop.
Okay. Hey, what's the idea? You stalled the car.
Yeah. To make sure it stays stalled, I'll just take these keys.
Danny, we're right on the track.
Yeah. This is it. You fell in love, see? You ran away together, smacked into the train. Now, don't try the doors. They're locked. I'll just wait over here and make sure everything goes the way it should.
Well, Gail?
Somehow I'm not frightened. And I don't care.
Hey, my foot! My foot! It's caught in the train! Hey, it's not coming down your track. It's coming down this one! Hey, Russell! Gail, help me! Help!
Danny.
on the wrong track. Danny, been on the wrong track for a long time.
John, what was it you said before about why you took the case? Was it true?
Yes.
But you always talked about payment, about something you wanted.
I wanted justice. And I also wanted something else. Someone Danny had at first and then lost. Someone he didn't deserve.
John.
Yes, Jest. That's right. You.
Say, what is this anyway? Inner Sanctum or Love's Old Sweet Song? You'd better get yourself another tune, Professor. Or I'd better get myself another program to haunt. That's right. One more sappy ending like that, and they can get themselves another host.
Why, what was the matter with that ending? I thought it was the nicest one we've had this year. I thought it was sweet the way those two people discovered they loved each other.
Listen, Mary, there's only one kind of sweet stuff that goes on this program, and that's sweet essence of cyanide.
Oh, good gracious. This is the last show of the season. Can't you be human just this once?
All right, Mary, I'll tell you what I'll do. When Gail and that lawyer get married, I'll send her a Lipton sterling silver medallion for a wedding present.
Well, they'll have to get married real soon then, because this is the last time on Inner Sanctum that the Lipton people are offering to send that special medallion. Yes, ladies, this is your last chance to get a solid sterling silver medallion hung on a narrow black rayon satin ribbon. A lovely piece of jewelry to wear with your simple silk dresses and with your dressy suits as well. So you'd better send for your medallion tonight. Just send 25 cents and the box top from a package of Liptons, the tea with the brisk flavor, to Lipton Tea, Box 92, New York City.
And now, a word of advice, friends. Don't let tonight's story, all this business about dead men's debts, prey on your mind too much. If you should wake up at about 2 in the morning and hear strange footsteps coming up the stairs toward your room, don't worry. It won't be a homicidal maniac. It will probably be the ghost of a bill collector coming to collect IOU. By the way, this month's Inner Sanctum mystery novel is Lay That Pistol Down by Richard Powell. Well, now it's time to close up shop until the end of August. Much too hot to go around murdering people. And down at the morgue, everybody's planning to stay on ice for the summer. So we'll be back to haunt you on Tuesday, August 28th, with more Inner Sanctum stories directed by Hyman Brown. Better have that date tattooed on your chest. Tuesday, August 28th. Until then, remember to serve Lipton, the tea with a brisk flavor, iced as your summertime beverage. And be sure to serve Lipton's noodle soup as the one hot dish with a cold meal. And now it's time to close the squeaking door. So, good night. Pleasant dreams.
This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe.